The big story at this hour, sources indicating that Mulayam Singh Yadav's younger daughter-in-law could be about to join the BJP. Indications that Aparna Yadav could join the BJP came after a tweet from a Haryana BJP leader. Aparna Yadav is the wife of Mulayam Singh's younger son, Pratik Yadav. Saurabh Shukla joining us at this point with the latest on that story. Saurabh, what are we making of these reports? What more do we know at this point?
It's a very important development in context of UP, Ankita. Aparna Yadav, daughter-in-law of Mulayam Singh Yadav, Pratik Yadav's wife. Last in 2017 elections, she contested on Samajwadi Party ticket from Lucknow Kant Assembly, and she lost to Rita Bahuguna Joshi of BJP. Later, Rita Bahuguna Joshi resigned and she contested from Prayagraj Lok Sabha and she won from there. Now, issue is, Ankita, that BJP is in touch with Aparna. In fact, Aparna is in Lucknow. Aparna is in Delhi, I've been told, and as this tweet of Arun Yadav indicating that she might join BJP tomorrow at 10 a.m. But one thing which is standing in between that is Aparna Yadav is asking ticket from Lucknow Kant Assembly seat, but from the same assembly seat, Rita Bahuguna Joshi is asking ticket for her son, Mayank Joshi. That is the only thing which is coming into the way, but this speculation was going on from last 4-5 days. In fact, on Sunday, Ankita, I had a word with Aparna and I spoke to her about her joining of BJP. She clearly denied. But you know that this is election season, anything can happen. But as of now, she's in Delhi, and a lot of sources and BJP leaders are indicating that she may join BJP tomorrow at 10 a.m. And if it happens, then again, as we know last time, Ankita, Akhilesh had to pay toll due to the rift within his family. Last time, Shivpal Yadav, who is uncle of Akhilesh Yadav, he parted his way from Akhilesh and he contested alone, and he damaged Akhilesh badly. And now Aparna Yadav, but I would like to tell you, Ankita, that Aparna Yadav, in fact, she invited Yogi Adityanath to her Gaushala in Lucknow rural. So Yogi Adityanath went to attend that function as well, and she's been meeting a lot of BJP leaders of late. So Samajwadi Party also mentally prepared, and they're also preparing their strategy to counter this narrative of Aparna Yadav joining BJP tomorrow. But as of now, it is just a speculation. Election season, anything can happen. We know that Dharm Singh Saini said that he is not joining Samajwadi Party, and next day he joined. So we have to wait and watch. All
right, Saurabh. Thanks very much indeed for those details. 3 naval personnel have died of injuries caused by an explosion on board the Indian Navy's destroyer ship, the INS Ranveer, at the Mumbai Naval Dockyard. Saurabh Gupta joining us at this point with the latest on that. Saurabh, what are we hearing?
Well, you know, what we're being given to understand by the Navy is that this incident took place at around 4:30 this afternoon, and what we also know is that 3 sailors or 3 Navy personnel have died in the explosion. Now, what they clarify is that this is not connected to any of the arms and ammunition on the ship. Now, what is this ship? Well, this was a ship that's a destroyer. It's from the Rajput class, actually, but it's called the Ranveer class, first the Ranveer class, because it came with a whole lot of upgrades from the first few ships of the Rajput class. Now, this is, of course, a destroyer. It was commissioned in 1986, and, you know, it is, of course, has a role of protection, such as anti-aircraft and anti-submarine warfare. And also, it's something that, it's a ship that, you know, was, according to the Navy, on a cross-coast operational deployment from the Eastern Naval Command, and was due to return to base port shortly. Now, an inquiry has been ordered to investigate the cause, and no major material damage has been reported, the Navy says in a statement. It also adds that the ship's crew responded immediately and quickly brought the situation under control. Unfortunately, 3 people lost their lives. And another detail is that, the current Navy chief, Admiral R. Harikumar, has also commanded the ship earlier in his career.
Right. Thanks very much, Saurabh, for joining us with those disturbing details coming in at this point. Our other big focus, a new Chinese bridge that's being constructed across the Pangong Lake in eastern Ladakh is now more than 400 meters long, and once completed could give China a significant military edge in an area which has been a key flashpoint between India and China. Vishnu Som brings us this exclusive report with the first high-resolution satellite images of this new bridge.
This is the new Chinese bridge being constructed over the key Pangong Lake flashpoint in eastern Ladakh. It's 8 meters wide, over 400 meters long so far, and once completed will give Chinese forces the ability to position troops and weaponry on either bank of the lake in double quick time. Satellite images from the 16th of January, just a couple of days back, that you see here show the bridge, a heavy crane being used for its construction over what is now a frozen Pangong Lake. Chinese troops from the north bank will no longer need to drive nearly 200 kilometers around the lake to reach their main base at Rutog. That journey will be cut by a whopping 150 kilometers. This is where the bridge is being constructed, in an area where India held until 1958. This lies approximately 35 kilometers from areas where India and China faced off on the south bank of the Pangong Lake last year. Before construction of this bridge, this is the route Chinese soldiers took along their existing road network to get from one bank to the other. They will now use the bridge and a new road being constructed on the south bank. This new road will also have a link to those areas where last year's standoff between soldiers took place. In a statement on the construction of the bridge, the External Affairs Ministry says, the bridge is being constructed in areas that have been under illegal occupation by China for around 60 years now. As you are well aware, India has never accepted such illegal occupation. While Indian and Chinese forces backed off from their hair-trigger alert and de-escalated tensions on both banks of Pangong Lake in February last year, the construction of the new bridge is a clear reminder of how China continues to build up access in areas which it may consider as potential future flashpoints. Vishnu Som for NDTV.
Highlighting that COVID-19 testing has declined in many states and union territories in the last few days, the Union Health Ministry has now directed states to ramp up testing, keeping in view the case positivity trend. India on Monday conducted 16.49 lakh tests. However, the country's weekly positivity continues to hover around the 15% mark. The Health Ministry also told states that tests should be done on people who are living in close surroundings and densely populated areas in emerging new clusters.
Irrespective of what the ICMR has said, that the main objective continues to be the same, that early detection as well as isolation of cases is extremely important. It, however, cherry picks certain points from those guidelines, the ones that mention that symptomatic people need to be tested, high-risk contacts need to be tested. However, it does not mention those points that had created controversy around how asymptomatic contacts need not be tested. So it tries to skirt from that controversy, but the centre at this point of time making it very clear that states need to ramp up testing immediately. The ICMR portal, where all of these states upload their testing data, through that data collation, the centre says we have found that testing has reduced rapidly in several states, and that is why it's important to immediately ramp it up. And this is very important, this strategy is very important, especially to keep those areas under control which are densely populated or areas which could develop as new hotspots. So that is what the centre is making very clear at this point of time, and it is important that this development comes at this point, considering we had been hearing of reports from several parts, especially in Delhi, where asymptomatic people were struggling to get tested. Even symptomatic people were struggling to get tested.
Well, Delhi and Mumbai are seeing a sharp fall in COVID cases, but unfortunately an uptick in hospitalizations. In Mumbai, hospitalizations have breached the crucial 10% mark, and hospitalizations are inching up in Delhi and NCR as well.
Doctors and nurses around a COVID patient in Delhi. The hospitalization rates and rush are so far nothing like what was seen in the horrific second wave. But health officials are closely tracking this. NDTV analysed the hospitalisation numbers in the last 7 days, which has seen over 17 lakh cases. In Mumbai and Delhi, hospitalizations are seeing an uptick, even though cases have now fallen for several days consecutively. In Mumbai, it is up from 7% to 11%, and ICU rates have more than doubled to over 6%. 11% is just outside the 5 to 10% band that the Health Ministry had reported last week. However, the hospitalization rates from other states are still within this band. In Delhi, the uptick is from 2.9% to 3.2%. Although the ICU rate is marginal, it is still seeing an uptick from 0.7 to a shade under 1%.
So we need to keep a close watch. If the hospitalization rates are plateauing, are decreasing, it clearly confirms the declining trend of COVID positive cases in the country. But if the hospitalization rates are going up, then we have to increase the containment measures. We also have to look at the percentage of hospitalized patients requiring ICU care, because that clearly reflects the disease severity.
In fact, there is a dip in Kolkata despite as many as 1 in 2 tests turning up positive, and in Chennai the dip is more, from 8 to 5%. At the Guwahati Medical College and Hospital, the largest COVID care facility in Assam, occupancy of beds has gone down from 29% to 16% in 1 week.
So as a whole, these patients, as of now, who are admitted, are less on oxygen, less on ICU care. No patients are, only I think one patient now is on NIV. The rest of all the patients are on, in ICU are on or just simple oxygen. So as a whole, the symptoms which is being shown is more of the Omicron variety than the Delta variety.
During India's second wave, hospitals across India had run out of beds and even other basic resources like oxygen. And that is why this time the government as well as experts are repeatedly pointing out that we cannot let our guard down. Bureau report for NDTV.
Bhagwant Mann is the Aam Aadmi Party's chief ministerial candidate for Punjab. Arvind Kejriwal announced the results of the televoting drive in which people were asked to phone in their choice for the top post. While Mann received 93% of votes, around 3% of them were cast for the Congress's Navjot Singh Sidhu.
पंजाब के अगले सीएम और आम आदमी पार्टी का सीएम चेहरा औपचारिक रूप से सरदार भगवंत मान को डिक्लेयर करते हुए
Bhagwant Mann gets emotional as the Delhi Chief Minister finally names him as the AAP's Chief Ministerial face, ending weeks of uncertainty. The AAP chief claims Mann overwhelmingly won an unusual phone-in public poll conducted by the party to pick its Punjab CM candidate.
लगभग 21,59,437 लोगों ने अपने रिस्पांस दिए. उसमें 93.3% लोगों ने सरदार भगवंत मान का नाम लिया.
Despite his popular appeal, naming Mann has not been easy for AAP. The former stand-up comedian and two-time MP from Punjab Sangrur has often made headlines for his maverick behavior, especially his excessive drinking. In 2019, Mann had to publicly take an oath to keep off alcohol. Today he told NDTV all such allegations are baseless.
वो उनके पास और कुछ है ही नहीं बोलने को शरद जी. मतलब कोई मेरे पे करप्शन नहीं कर सकते, कोई मेरे पे कोई ईडी नहीं भेज सकते, इनकम टैक्स नहीं भेज, तो साफ सुथरी इमेज है. मैं तो अभी भी किराए के मकान में रहता हूँ, ठीक है ना. लेकिन हाँ, ऐसे भगवंत मान तो ऐसे 11 साल से कह रहे हैं. उसके बाद तो पब्लिक ने मुझे इतनी बड़ी बड़ी जीत दी है.
But the challenges will be great, including fulfilling AAP's ambitious election promises.
कोई लंदन, पेरिस, कैलिफोर्निया के सपने हम उन देख चुके हैं, वो झूठे सपने थे. तो दोबारा पंजाब को पंजाब बनाने के लिए मेरे हाथ में कमान दी है. तो आज के बाद तालियां भी मेरी हैं तो गालियां भी मेरी हैं.
AAP's political rivals, however, called the nomination of Mann a stage-managed non-event.
ਜਦੋਂ ਪਿਛਲੇ 1 ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਕੇਜਰੀਵਾਲ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਦੀ ਭਗਵੰਤ ਮਾਨ ਨਾਲ ਬੈਠਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਚਿਹਰਾ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਹੋਊਗਾ, ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਚੰਗਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਦੇਵਾਂਗੇ. ਅਖੀਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਆਮ ਆਦਮੀ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਜਾਣ ਨੂੰ ਤਿਆਰ ਨਹੀਂ. ਤੇ ਮਜਬੂਰਨ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਆ ਗਿਆ, ਕੋਡ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ, ਹੁਣ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਦਾ ਸਮਾਂ ਆ ਗਿਆ, ਹੁਣ ਟਾਈਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਭਗਵੰਤ ਮਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਚਿਹਰਾ ਬਣਾਇਆ।
By choosing Maan, Aam Aadmi Party finally has a CM face in Punjab, unlike the last time. But will the maverick leader be able to put Aam Aadmi Party in power in Punjab? In Chandigarh, Mohammad Ghazali for NDTV.
And in poll-bound Goa, the Trinamool Congress has released its first list of candidates. Saurabh Gupta joining us for details on that as well. Saurabh, who's on the list?
Well, you know, this is of course no surprise. Along expected lines, tickets for defectors, notably Churchill Alama, who quit the NCP and joined the TNC. He will contest from Benole, and of course his daughter also gets a ticket. But interestingly, his daughter gets a ticket from a constituency which has been Luisino Falero, a former CM constituency, who also quit the Congress and joined the Trinamool Congress. Falero won that constituency for 7 terms, but this time he moves to a constituency called Fatorda. Now, why this is interesting? Well, it is because it is the constituency of the Goa Forward Party chief, which is allied with the Congress after talks with the TNC failed. So, is the TNC trying to get back at the Goa Forward Party? That's the question. But a lot of, defectors, of course, getting tickets along expected lines. And this is the first list. This was declared after Abhishek Banerjee, the Trinamool's National General Secretary, visited Goa today and held discussions on these names.
Saurabh, thanks so much for those details.